Okay, I'm going to keep this short and sweet to the point. This may not make sense. I hope it does. I spend most of my time cross-referencing everything. It's probably a mental problem, obsession, but I want to know what the fuck's going on, so all I can really do is break things down and then look at what is in relation to those things. And a lot of analogies. Life is an analogy, pretty much. Everything in life is an analogy. Um, if you want to look down at material, what you'll find is because you're using your consciousness and mind to observe that said material, what you'll end up with at the very base bottom is an idea or an energy thought. There's nothing really there, okay? I don't like to go too deep into this because I start to get a little freaked out, but here's a lot of patterns I've been finding out. So these don't all correlate, but you'll start to see some similarities going on, and it's very interesting. We're being lied to. There's a lot of information being designed, manufactured, synthesized to keep everybody totally not knowing what's going on. A lot of history has been fucked over because of this. So you have your 12 zodiac, okay? There's the 13th zodiac, but I don't know about that. I don't really go into that right now. You are in the center. You're the 13th. This is why they don't have a 13th floor. This is why they don't have a 13th room. It'll be like 12A, 12B. This is a deep mental thing. It's kind of like a joke and also a respect to the individual that's there, that they're not targeting or citing you out. It's kind of like you can't let anybody know that they're the center of it all. So they don't have that room or that floor out of respect and kind of a joke. Like 4 in Asia, 4 is very similar to the word death, and 4 is a cube. 4 points makes a box. 3 is a triangle. So, I mean, this is how simple this shit is. It's kindergarten code, pictorial shit. Square, to be boxed in, to be sealed in a box. Okay, think about a coffin, a tomb, to be sealed in a grave, whatever. That's death. That's you are sealed in your fate. You're locked in. That's why 4 and death are connected, whether you know that or not. But in Asia, they don't use 4 for parking spaces and buildings and rooms. They don't use 4 because 4 is so similar to death, the symbol for death, that they're not trying to fucking scare people. So you have one side of the zodiac is considered negative, and the other side of the zodiac is considered positive. This is why you have like more sun and then less sun during the seasons. Here's your yin yang. Okay, you have your negative and your positive. On both sides of DNA, one goes down, the pyrimine, I don't really remember what they're called, but one goes up, and one coils up and one coils down, and they are in opposition of each other. Basically like that right there. Okay, they are electromagnetically charged. Your DNA, your coils, they're super fucking coils, and one is running a current. They're running currents in opposite directions. I think DNA is honestly a torus field, like what you see around Earth. And what's going on is each cell has a torus field, because inside of those nuclei are little torus fields. So all those torus fields add up, overall add up, and then down to what you do in your life comes down to a negative or a positive path. Here's your base pairs, okay? Base pairs, there's always 4 and then a 5th. 4 base pairs plus 1, okay? And they talk about this in, like, I don't know, they talk about it because of reversal for transcription and shit like that. So I don't know. You're breaking things down, you're transcripting codes or things in life, signals for your own whatever. So you have 4 seasons, okay, which I thought was very strange. You have 4 elements, okay. Now, the 5th, I'm wondering if that's spirit or consciousness, because in Asia, for example, they have air, fire, water, earth, and then they have metal. Okay, so I don't really know. And it's funny because metal, you'll have like artificial intelligence, okay? This is like the major battle of the soul and consciousness, and our whole human race shit goes around this whole artificial, technological fucking simulated reality shit, right? So I thought that's very strange that metal is another element in that. So here you have basically all coiled up is a story going on. Okay, these base pairs, I think these are the fucking seasons. I think you have your wet and your dry, and you're dry and you're wet. You have your warm and your cool or cold. It's the seasons going around. And then the fifth one, I mean, this is just kind of an analogy, like I said, it could be you in, you basically depend on all these elements to survive, to eat, to live, whatever. And it doesn't matter what tribe, what mindset you're on, because we all share these main qualities, these main things, elements that we need to survive. It'd be kind of like two different species at differences, two brothers, arguing or having difference of opinion, having total different idea of how to live life, like aristocrats and fucking rebellions or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But they still are human. Like, they still share, they drink water, they fucking eat food, they cook, whatever the fuck, they need warmth and all that shit. So, now here's where it gets even weirder, okay? Like, you go into the Kabbalah, okay? The Tree of Life, or it's basically a crystal, okay? I think it's like Metatron's Cube is also another version of this tree. Basically, it's also like an electrician's, when you're getting an electrician, it's like a circuit type thing. See, this is where it traps you in. Like, a lot of people get money and are beautiful and become models and warriors and kings and shit like that, and celebrities. They get trapped in here. This is basically like a hell, okay? This is Earth. The bottom one is Earth. The top one would be God, or like your mind, okay? These are both the same pretty much. They're not really like a thing. Like, you're not the Earth. And you're connected to it, but it's not really like you. God, the top part, is like a part of you, but not exactly you either. They're kind of disconnected from you, even though you work with them. So these just cycle you back into Earth type shit. This is like the 8 consciousnesses. You have Earth, biosurvival, you have fucking emotions, you have thinking, you have social, like, being a social, whatever. You have 4. When you master those, you start to go up higher. And this is where you become like God. And this is where like Michael and fucking Gabriel and God say it. And this is basically just wisdom and judgment, like on a total matured adult. Obviously a child would be like down here. And then when they get here, they could fucking stay here. But the goal is to like incorporate the whole thing and know how to maneuver. Well, here's what's weird. So like all these lines that connect them, there's 22 of them. So there's 10 of these spheres, okay? 8 of them is what I would go into like the eightfold path. You have biosurvival, emotional, thinking, social, and then you have body consciousness, mind consciousness, genetic, symbiotic, like, group, soul, minds consciousness, and then you have like atomic energy, straight electron energy, nuclear understanding of like waves and all that crazy shit, right? That basically organic life uses. The top would be more of like an inorganic. That's why God is so weird, because God is almost like an atom molecule, energy waves. Here I drew this because, they talk about dragons and shit. Like Asia talks about the clouds and the spirals and all these dragons and shit happening, right? Like, they love the dragon. I always see these self-replicating, almost like machine, biomechanical things, like when I'm tripping out and shit. And I was just kind of thinking to myself that, like, they say in science that everything started out before DNA as RNA, and RNAs are the messenger. They're taking the overall message blueprint, and they take it, and they get fed through ribosomes, I think. Yeah, and that's where they're employed. And they get funneled through the ribosomes like a bunch of jobs, a bunch of crap we have in life, and they're forced to, like, decode and do what they do with their mind to make fucking whatever for the cell. So I'm thinking that we may not even have a double helix. Like, this is poetic, okay? But back in the day, like, if we were, I don't know, these are free floating. Like, these RNAs are free flowing, almost like wave serpents, and they can self-replicate. themselves. So it's really weird, okay? Then when we get into like a eukaryotic cell, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, with a closed nucleus system, it's like science is telling you, oh yeah, your shit's locked in there, in like a cell, like a jail, and then it's negative and positive. So it's like good and bad, like sin and crap like that. Fucking the Old Testament, the New Testament, and fucking, dude, and Jacob's Ladder and crap, and the Latter-day Saints. Dude, I'm telling you, this shit is all fucking code. Basically, because we're made of atoms and molecules, we are talking like electrical, we're talking atomical, we're talking molecular, we're talking in a asymmetrical, symmetrical. Dude, it's fucking insane what's going on. But I think it's all mind-washing bullshit, like to try to convince you you're bad and you're good, and you gotta get polarized, bipolarized, Democrats, Republicans, fucking, you get what I'm saying? Like, all this crazy shit. And oh damn, we're at 11 minutes now, I gotta go. But yeah, here was the last thing, is you get like 12 of the zodiac. I was thinking like, okay, so 12 and 12 would make 24, plus the X, or the Y and the X pairs. There's 22 pairs, was my point. There's 22 pairs of chromosomes. So you're getting half of that, which would be like 11. Oh, okay, it's right here. My bad. So you get 11 from the 22 of your dad, 11 from the 22 of your mom. Those come together to make 22. Okay, 22 chromosomes, plus the X and the Y or the X, whatever, and then you get your 24 pairs. Okay, now this isn't perfect, but I'm saying this is kind of weird because they added in that 13th zodiac, and they took it out, and I don't really know. But so here's the 12 zodiacs. So you get like 12 zodiacs split. You get 12 from your dad, 12 from your mom. Okay, so like those are cut perfectly in half, and you get them. So you get 24. Then you get either the Y and the X or whatever. So that makes your 26 pairs. Okay. 26, 24, very close. Okay, we're just off a little bit. And they've already kind of been fucking with the zodiac forever. There's like 3 different zodiacs. And then I like looked into Down syndrome, and they're talking about how they have a third added on. Dude, this shit gets crazy, all right? And then the monkeys, they have like, dude, it looks like it got fused. So somebody's fucking around with these numbers, because the patterns will tell you something's going on. Like this, in this life with analogies, everything has to make sense. That's how you decode and how you break this shit, because everything has to make sense. It all has to associate. And you can try to jumble it up as much as you want, but somewhere down the line, something has to make sense, or you're going to forget the whole fucking code. Basically, people that make up these secret codes, they put it out in such a way that you can figure it out. And like, if they don't do it in that way, then they're not going to be able to figure it out themselves. So when there's a certain amount of number of things, and you keep seeing this over and over and over and over and over. I mean, goddamn, Madonna even got into this shit. If you keep seeing this shit over and over and over, there's a reason. And they're trying to put that in your head, but they're going to leave out 1 or 2 or change it a little bit. And then what you'll find is like, okay, so there's 22, right? 22 paths. Well, there's 22 main amino acids, okay? So amino acids, there's like 26, 24 alphabets, but see, V is like W and U. Like, these are all added. And then like a C makes a K sound and an S sound. So C isn't even like, see what I'm saying? They add this shit to fuck with you. But there's like 26, 24 amino acids, all right? So those would be the alphabet. Like your DNA would kick out the RNA, which is basically like, oh, I'm going to take this little signal and I'm going to go do my job, and then it talks or whatever, but the amino acids come in, then they make the fucking protein. The protein is just the word. When you stack the proteins together, you get sentences. You get a whole fucking, like a chapter, a book, which is like a fucking animal. Like, okay, here's a little animal. Its whole life is its story. It's a whole fucking thing. It's inside is telling the story of what it's doing on the outside. It's a fucking loop. And so when you have like these numbers popping up, like, oh, okay, we get 26, 24, this is the genes, this is the life script code, but then you're going to tell me that there's 4 main seasons, the sun goes around the earth on a fucking loop, okay, it goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down, summer solstice, winter solstice, we're on a fucking loop. It's the same fucking seasons, the same bullshit over and over and over and over and over and over. And that's why this thing's coiling over and over and over and over. It's not even that it's that long, dude. I think it's just they're trying to tell you that, look, it just starts over. Look, it just starts over. Look, it just starts over. And you're in a fucking Groundhog's Day continuum with these 4 base fucking pairs being interswitched, 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 interswitched. And you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're looking at like TCG, GTC, CTT. You're doing this shit all, dude, you're doing this for fucking years in college. And like, really, they do this so that you just lose your fucking mind and you give up. But why are we talking about negative and positive? Why does this go into fucking politics? Why politics? Ticking like a time clock bomb, poles, polar shifts, polar caps, you know, Capricorn to cap fucking to capitalize. Dude, this shit is fucking crazy. Okay, if you found out that the earth was fucking upside down, that the South Pole was actually the North Pole and the North was the South, you lose your fucking minds. Everybody has this top dog mentality because this is all in the symbolism and that little subliminal coding like, oh, you're a top dog, North is the best, king of the hill. What the fuck? So I think that, dude, it's all here. Like, it's all being talked about. So try to get into this shit. Start learning about this. Start looking at the patterns, the analogies and shit. And you'll start to, you know, notice a bunch of crazy shit. Like, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, here's one thing the Asians do. They go, boom, boom. They go, oh, what is it? This one is like that. Then this one is like that. Then this one is like that. And then this one is like that. Shit. But there you get your 4 differences, dude. You got positive, negative, negative positive, or positive negative, and negative positive. And there's your 4 main family members from the 3. The fucking negative, or the positive, the negative, and the neutral. And this is like humans right here, and this would be like the fucking devil, and this would be like God, and they're just fucking with you, spinning, 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 spinning. So that's why you have to incorporate and become this triad fucking thing. It's kind of like that whole Trinity thing. God isn't just one. I mean, it's one, it pulls it all in, but when it starts to function into itself and out of itself, it has to do these weird fucking dynamic jumbles. And this is why you get red, green, blue. This is when you get into, look at this, look at these little coils right here. This is fucking right here, your quarks. This is inside of an atom. You go inside of an atom and how it's mostly space, and you get these little flickers, these little flickerings of light, almost like tiny flakes, little flickers in the ether that just come out of nowhere, just like this little froth. But they flip, they interact with each other. Like this one's a red one, this is a green one, this is a blue one. So this has got red going into the green, and the green's going into the red. So they're kind of like 50-50, but also not, because they're combined together. And then these are doing it at the same time with the blue. So you have blue, red, and green. This gets kind of mathematical. It's like for this one to be here, and this one to be here, and this one to be here, this one has to be off. So then you go boom, 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 and you know, I'm not going to do this right now, but you can get it if you start getting into like binary and trinary, because that's the other thing too, is DNA uses 4 base pairs. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the 5th one right now, but there's a 5th one. The 4 base pairs, but it runs it in triplets. So when it reads the language, it's reading it in triplets to make the fucking protein, which is the meat or the carbon, you know, it's the word. These little alphabet letters are coming together. Actually, I'm sorry, they're not words. The proteins, I'd say, are the, or no, they are the words. I'm sorry, yeah, they are the words. Organs would be chapters or paragraphs, I guess you could say, and then the organism altogether would be the book. So, you know, and then you look at why are these things in 3s, and I honestly think that it's because in electricity and magnetism and all that, you have 3 processes going on where you have an input, an integration, and an output. So when we talk, you know, we're inputting, we're listening, and, you know, we're outputting. So we'll take in information, listen, and then we'll express or share. And we do these 3 steps all in our conversations. and we try to match that with somebody else's to have a good conversation. It's basically like making love or language reproducing. It's really fucking creepy. It's like a meta parasite uses your mind and shit to talk, and it does these little code dances like boop 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 boop. Do you understand me? Yes, I do. Oh, that's great. That makes me feel good. Oh, I'm glad that makes you feel good. Does that make you feel good that it makes me feel good? Yes, it does. You see what I'm saying? It's fucking weird shit, dude. So I'm done. But yeah, keep looking at the patterns and shit, and I'm out. I think I covered everything I can. But yeah, like I said, I think that we're like free agents, and we just live our lives, and they trapped us into this hole. You're either on this side or you're either on this side. Where do you stand? And this is where a lot of the religion bullshit came in, and it's not good. It's really not good. So, all right, I'm out.